Morning, Bones.
Morning, Padre. What did you find out on the shooting in Pennsylvania?
Well, we do know that there were five officers shot, three fatally, while serving a warrant in Pennsylvania, and the shooter was killed at the scene. The thing that I find, well, let's first talk about how heartbreaking it is that we have five law enforcement officers shot, three fatally, the other two are in critical condition. This happened in Pennsylvania, in North Cadorus Township. Um, it's an ongoing investigation. The shooter was killed by police, like I said. Uh, the three officers killed, like to honor them. Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, 39 years old. He was a 16-year veteran. Detective Isaiah Emmenheiser, 43 years old, a 20-year veteran. And Detective Mark Baker, 53. He had 21 years of service. The only information that's really being put out on the case right now, aside from what this community is going through as we talk about with shooting of law enforcement officers, the grief, the unbearable grief, and just the senselessness of it. Uh, Apparently, these officers were following up on an investigation that began on Tuesday. The case was characterized as domestic related. They were entering the area of a barn, and the shooter, who was identified as 24-year-old Matthew Ruth, apparently opened fire. Uh, Again, hitting five deputies,
Okay, so
killing three of
back
them.
back. So they entered a barn area. Is that what you said?
They were going in to investigate, and it said they entered a barn area. And the photograph that is shown is there's a large barn, and there's a field out in front of it. And they were entering that area when the suspect just opened fire. Now, the thing I find interesting, it is an ongoing investigation. Suspect was killed. Uh, the scene is very large and remains active. Involved in this ongoing investigation are ATF agents and FBI agents that are assisting at the scene. So, again, FBI Director Kash Patel is involved in this and has made a statement. Our prayers are with the officers, their families, and the entire York County community, as well it should be. Um, it was reported on 911 about 2 p.m. on Wednesday, and that's when it occurred. A witness who lives across the street told the news people that he watched as officers approach the barn area of the farm and then heard many, many gunshots. He said it was like a scene off today's TV. All the schools obviously were sheltering in place. So they're not releasing, and they're very specific about saying they are not releasing any other information on the case at this point due to it being an ongoing investigation. They're not alluding as to why the ATF and FBI are involved, uh, if it has a relation to anything else going on in the world today, just that a 24-year-old young man, as they were going to serve a warrant on a domestic violence follow-up, suspect opened fire on him. So again, another very traumatic and sad situation for law enforcement. Um, Another young man. We have no information on this guy other than his name. Haven't had time to go in and research it, see anything about what he was about. Again, the focus on these three fallen officers and the grief that this community is going through. Just another tragic, tragic event.
It's a senseless ordeal in my mind. More law enforcement officers that didn't make it home for dinner, didn't get to spend time with their families, won't be able to watch their children grow, won't be with their loved ones won't be with them. It's a tragic event for the officers involved.
Well,
Ongoing info. Go ahead.
tragic for
Go ahead.
everybody involved. I would agree, Bones. And I think that the headlines they always talk about, police officers that were shot fatally or critically wounded. Uh, they do give the names, but they never go into the fact that these police officers are human. They have families. They have children, grandchildren, mothers, brothers, sisters, friends in these communities, and people just look at it as law enforcement officers being shot, but these were men of the community that had lives outside of law enforcement that are going to be affected. Uh, Again, this happened in Pennsylvania, and it just crushes me to know that these men who were serving their community and keeping the community safe are no longer going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to hug their children, their wives. Um, Again, another senseless and tragic incident involving law enforcement. The community grieves nationwide.
Yep. I have thoughts and my thoughts and prayers with the families. Um, Thinking about it, there's a lot of similarities happen here in Utah with the officers in Tremont. A lot of similarities, and that investigation I don't believe is closed as of yet either. So I guess there's more to be looked into and more to be seen on this one and the one that happened in Utah.
Right. So we will continue to follow up and dig for what these cases, these senseless, tragic, they are murders of law enforcement officers. Why is this occurring? And why did this young individual commit this act? They're keeping it real close to the vest right now. As facts come out, we'll do the follow up and get back with you on anything that we can find out with it. Try to make some sense of why these brave officers lost their lives. But prayers to the community, to the officers' families, uh, to those that are touched in law enforcement around the world by this senseless, tragic act.
God bless.